Any meeting to order. First order of business, would you please look over the minutes from the December meeting? If there's no additions or any corrections, I need a motion to approve, please.
Motion.
I have a motion. I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Minutes are approved. All right. Next, we'll go on to the permit list. Look over the permits. We only have two. We have one on 302 Wood Duck for a fence and 209 South Main for a reno. Questions on any of that from any of you guys? Is that South Main, is that a full house right now? Or don't know?
No, it is just interior.
Just interior only?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's been one before, but they're redoing.
Gotcha. And I take it the one on the fence, it's all within what we need as far as, okay. No questions from you all on any of that? No. Okay. All right, we're going to go on to Kim Meadow with Mr. Johnson. Jamie, you want to explain some stuff for us and this to us?
So, part of the process that we have to do is get Peter to review it, and then we'll also have GMB review it. Peter already did his revision, so he is here to speak about that, and I included that in your packet.
You have the floor, sir.
Okay. No one from Macron here tonight?
Yep. Oh, no.
No.
No. Okay. Well, two things. First of all, I sent you out a description of the overlay or the floating zone process. And I, at least as I remember, none of you were here when this first went through the process.
Right.
And that, you know, with a master plan project, it's different than your standard building permit application where someone comes in, they show you where that house is, or the building, whatever it's going to be, located, setbacks, driveway, parking, et cetera, et cetera. With a master plan community, it's given the flexibility to establish its own conditions, its setbacks and other things. So that's what we're dealing with here. And they've done well, at least one phase of it with a subdivision, and this is the second phase of the subdivision. And as far as the subdivision goes, it's consistent with their master plan. The way the floating zone process works is, first of all, there's a master plan. And that master plan deals with design, location of the lots, the streets, the open space, kind of a big picture concept of how the whole thing is going to be laid out. But the process requires that any specific plans that are pulled, and official plans like a site plan or a subdivision, must be consistent with that master plan. And in this case, the subdivision is consistent with the master plan for the most part. The couple things that I pointed out was in the discussion of this project in the first phase was this notion of integrating some traffic calming at major intersections. If you look at the master plan, you'll see that one of the stub out street, and I can't remember the name of it, will eventually extend through the entire development and in the commercial area, so that you know, there's going to be a lot more traffic there. So you have an intersection, and we talked about the notion of some sort of traffic calming at those intersections, something that visually or structurally requires, compels the driver to slow down at the intersection. And you know, I have recommended, I think is what I recommended, was that we have the applicant address traffic calming at those intersections that were, again, I can't remember the name of the streets. The second thing was, you know, they're required to provide open space as part of the master plan. And I'm not sure where they are with their open space at this point, but there needs to be this kind of equivalency So if at the end of the project, if they're gonna have X acres of open space in the project with whatever amenities in those open spaces they've talked about in the original process, then there needs to be equivalency there. So if this represented 2/3 of the development project, then 2/3 of the open space should be identified, and whatever amenities are going to go into those open spaces should be provided. And I don't know where they are with their common open space, but that's the second issue I think needs to be addressed in the project. But otherwise, in terms of the street cross section and the water and sewer and all of those kinds of details, that'll be looked at by your engineer.
Yep.
Is it GMB?
Yep.
GMB. And so in the process of subdivision, first of all, there's a preliminary plat. And a preliminary plat is more than a sketch plan, but less than a final plat. So from preliminary approval, they then need to address these issues that I've raised, and then they will develop. Then they'll prepare specific plans for the sewer line and the water line and the street cross sections and the grading and the drainage and all of that, and the stormwater management. And all those will be detailed plans for construction, and those will be reviewed by GMB, and they'll be required for final approval. So I assumed that Macron would be here tonight asking for preliminary, but if they're not, then I would wait till they come and ask for preliminary.
Okay.
But I would pass on those my comments to them so that they're prepared to address them. So my recommendation for tonight is no action on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. You said we need to go over these other two also, Jimmy, that you gave me.
No, that was just for you guys to have, because I emailed them to you and I wanted you to see them.
Okay.
Don't we have a set of preliminary plans that they gave us with the full set of all the houses and commercial?
Yeah,
thing
the
there?
beginning, yep.
Yeah, when they did the beginning of it?
Mhm.
Okay.
When did this all start? Because Kenman was going before I came on.
2004.
2004 is when it actually started, but then when did we actually get the...
2008, the stock market crashed
Yeah.
and they went. So I think it
But-
was another 2010.
I'm trying to think of what back when we started with the preliminary drawings for this was back...
12?
Oh, no, it was sooner than that, because
So, I don't know that I can
John
send you
wasn't
everything.
here, I don't
so
think.
do you want to take a look at this?
when we had the
That's what they
preliminary set of
provided,
drawings
physical
is when we
documents.
started approving
I don't need
section
this.
You
phase
don't,
1.
okay.
I wasn't here.
Right, so nobody was here.
These
But
are
I
all the
think it
same.
was
Okay.
In the future,
2022.
require them to
But
send
I don't
all
know,
of that
it
as
didn't address,
PDF.
like, traffic
This form
calming,
will be the PDF.
Okay.
trees.
Yeah.
I think it did have open
They
space.
And have
I
GMB.
remember Cheryl talking
first
about that. I thought of traffic calming at some
Yeah,
time.
right.
I do remember her talking about
But at least
that.
The traffic calming's like putting some
Yeah.
island in there to
Okay.
make people go
Thanks.
around,
Thank
so they're
you.
not a straight shot, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
so it could be that, so.
Can I make I don't know the rules here that inside the zoning. What he's already, this gentleman's already addressed was, I live on Hobbs Street,
Okay.
and it's a very quiet street. And the housing development, that Hobbs Street is not the entrance, however, there's a little cul-de-sac there, which is enough for one vehicle at a time to come through. It's already picking up traffic coming through there, and it's just straight shot, like we're not even there. So at some point, it's going to be a serious issue, and I hope, in good faith, that it's not going to open clear shot all the way over to Cedar, like a straight shot.
It's got on here, I was just reading this, it met per se State Street, T section at Kinnaman Avenue and Hobbs Avenue. So it's for traffic calming in those areas.
Yeah, because I mean, they've
But
been,
they haven't even finished, they're not gonna pave any of the roads until the development's
Yeah.
completely done.
well, they're tearing it up because they got trucks that need to
Right.
come through right
Correct.
now. There's no other streets wide enough to bring the trucks through, really.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just it's a concern because, like I said, it's a quiet area, and we realize those are our new neighbors, but it's becoming very fast-paced through there already, so.
How many completed homes do we have out there now? Is it about 5 or 6?
Completed?
Oh, no.
Oh, and one
Wow.
last
20.
Yeah.
Permits-
I haven't been by in a while.
Permits are like for like
20,
22.
okay. I've been by and I saw some completed homes.
But
I
there's
haven't
8
been in.
more that are on the Hobbs area that
Okay.
they own.
It's
You know,
industrial area, it's zoned for industrial,
Mhm.
though, yeah.
But they're building houses, yeah.
But you know what they're doing, they're cutting through. That's exactly what they're doing to
Oh,
get.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
They
talk-
talked about speed humps and stuff at one point, but I don't think that ever went through.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend speed humps.
I think we talked about that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number of things you can consider once it's all done, and if it's a continuing problem, you know, you might find a place just to kind of choke down the street a little bit, so that, you know, when it narrows down, and you get on a street where there's parking that's right up, you know, and you've got, people have to slow down, it's psychological. So, same way with traffic calming, it's something that psychologically they get off of the pedal.
I've seen them put like islands in the middle of
Yeah.
the circle, so people can't go straight, they have to sort of
Right.
go around it a little bit
Right.
at those intersections,
Yeah.
so.
There's a whole series of those types of
Right.
measures.
Okay. Discussion of the comp plan. We've kind of done it now, or do you want to talk about the comp plan also?
Yeah.
Okay. I have I'm guessing this is the contract, is that what this is?
Yes, that,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, I've been contracted to assist you with the update of your comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
And what's going to drive the update in this process is, one, the existing plan.
Mhm.
What went before and what the prior planning commissions set up as a comprehensive plan. Two, state mandates, things that are the minimum requirements for a comprehensive plan. And I have summarized those for you. If you will. And you'll note, you know, why this is significant, and you know why I put this together for you. Particularly the state mandates that we're going to deal with in the comprehensive plan update are. There's legislation, and a lot of this kicks in October of this year. That will have a direct impact on the implementation of your plan and the recommendations, or at least the perspectives under implementation section of the comprehensive plan. One of those is the requirement for accessory dwelling units. You know, the legislation requires that the town's zoning ordinance, and it may or may not, I don't know, I haven't looked at your ordinance, but it requires that wherever a detached single-family dwelling is permitted, whatever zoning district it's permitted in, you must also permit an accessory dwelling unit. And that accessory dwelling unit, there are certain things you can't do with it. And you can't limit or prohibit them based on aesthetic requirements. You know, that roof pitch, fenestration, or kind of things that are kind of arbitrary that one person might think is okay and another might not. And there's a whole series of those, and I won't go into that. Second thing is the requirement that wherever a detached single-family dwelling is permitted in the town, you must also permit by right a manufactured home. So now the manufactured home must be treated in the same way as a detached single-family dwelling, and no additional standards. So that if all you require for a detached single-family dwelling is a setback X feet from the front and side and rear and that kind of thing, and if there's no coverage limits or those kinds of things, then you have to allow those by right. So ultimately, your zoning code would have to be revised to allow that. There is legislation that is on the book that is being considered right now, which I've summarized for you in that handout, and it's called the Starter and Silver Housing bill of 2026.
Mhm.
And the way the legislation is drafted right now, it would require that in any zoning district that allows a detached single-family dwelling, that you cannot require any more than a 5,000 square foot minimum lot size. That in any zoning district that allows a detached single-family dwelling, you cannot not allow an attached dwelling unit. That would be a duplex or a townhouse. Both of those are attached or semi-detached dwelling units. So they would also be by right within those zoning districts. The way it's written right now, you cannot have a front yard setback greater than 10 feet, and you can't have a side yard setback greater than 5 feet. You know, so, and I'm sure, without looking at it, that that will have a significant effect on your current zoning standards. In addition, the law says that anybody who has a lot today that can create a 5,000 square foot lot out of that lot and still have 5,000 for the original cannot be prohibited from subdividing the lot. So lots can be re-subdivided, even if you've got a house on it, you got 10,000 or more square feet, and you've got room to put a 50 by 100 lot over here on this side and leave yourself a 50 by 100, you can subdivide that, and that's by right. That's the way the legislation sits right now. I understand there are, the Maryland Municipal League and some of the counties are trying to negotiate, so we don't know what the final form of it's going to be, but if it's adopted or in some form adopted, it'll impact the implementation of your plan and how we view the existing conditions and resources within town today for infill and redevelopment in the future.
Hey Peter, can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes, sir.
So I've done some ADU units, but if you have let's say I can't exactly tell you how big my lot is, but if I decided to put a 2-car garage in and I put a apartment above that, but our infrastructure is not capable of handling another sewer line, how do we address that? Because if, like say, everybody decided to put a garage up and have an ADU unit above it, our sewer system wouldn't be able to handle
That have
extra
capacity?
capacity, correct?
Yeah. Well, you are not required to issue a permit if you don't have adequate sewer and water. Bottom line. At least that's my take on it. You can't get blood from a stone.
Correct, right.
That's it.
I have a question too. So our LDO right now states that for R1, because I'm having an issue with some lots that are for sale, if you build in R1, you can have accessory dwelling unit, but the owner has to live in the main house.
Can't do that. That's specifically prohibited in the legislation.
And that's what our attorney says that's in our LDO, so that's not correct.
No.
So can you just repeat what the correct situation is?
I don't know. He's telling me what's incorrect. So our LDO states in R1, if you own a home and you build a home and you want to build an accessory dwelling unit,
Right.
that the owner, so say Bob builds a home on a lot and he
Right.
wants to build an accessory dwelling unit, he has to live there, and then he
Right.
can rent it to his daughter.
Right.
But that's not correct.
All
pretty old.
of this is to get at, from the state's perspective, the affordable housing issue that we face in this country, not just here or in Maryland, but across the country. So I summarized that for you, and also to go on and to talk about the comprehensive plan. The enabling legislation requires certain elements in the comprehensive plan, and I've listed those out for you so that we understand kind of what are the pieces that we're going to be dealing with. And within each of those, we're going to be looking at the existing conditions, like existing land use. In terms of community facilities, what is the capacity of sewer? What is the capacity of water? What is the capacity of the fire department and rescue and schools and parks and all of those things that are part of it. Because all of that capacity in each of those categories drives our planning in the future for capital projects. Are we going to upgrade the sewer? Are we going to upgrade the water? What are those things going to cost, and what should be the priorities? And all of those will relate back to the goals and objectives that you set for each of those. And those goals and objectives are required as a required element of the plan. But what's going to drive those is, what are the needs of the community, and what do you want to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and 30 years from now. And as you move in that direction, and as you take on projects incrementally as you move in that direction, how are they addressing the needs of your community, of the people in your community, and what should be the priorities in terms of that. And so as part of this process, we usually start out with a socioeconomic profile in terms of, okay, when the 2010 comprehensive plan was done, what was the socioeconomic makeup of Greensboro? 16 years has gone by now. So what changes have occurred in terms of population and housing and and employment and those kinds of things, and income since the last comprehensive plan was done, and what are the implications of those changes for this planning process? So what I've given you there is a kind of updated profile, socioeconomic profile of the community, and summarize at least what I think are the implications of that data for the planning process. And you don't have to read that today. In our next workshop, after you've got a chance to read that, then we can discuss it and talk about it. So just that's your homework, if you will. In terms of what I'd like to accomplish tonight, is want to give you that outline, hand out to Sochi. I'd like to get your email addresses if I could.
Okay. That
That way, when I'd like to, like a couple of weeks before we meet, to send you out what we'll be discussing, like the draft land use plan or the draft transportation element. Send it out as a PDF if that's okay, and then you can have it in a digital form ahead of time.
Okay.
And at the time, if you need a hard copy, then hopefully Jamie can print you out a copy.
Okay.
And that's what we'll be discussing at our next workshop, whatever that is.
Okay.
And what I expect to send out the next time is not an element, but it's the kind of the other major input into your comprehensive planning process, and that's the public involvement, public engagement. So what I'll send you out is a kind of a recommended approach to public engagement for you to take a look at, and to see if it's doable. I mean, I don't know if it's doable or not. Right off the bat, what strikes me about your socioeconomic profile is the significant increase in the Hispanic population in your community. So in any kind of a public engagement, if we're sending out a questionnaire or something, or we're trying to get input from everybody in the community, then there's one a language issue that we need to deal with, and in the public engagement process, we're going to need somebody who is connected to the Hispanic community that can, first of all, read anything we've translated for the community to partake of, and make sure that it's intelligible for the citizens in your community. That we don't say something stupid.
Use the state.
Pardon?
I can get somebody from the state to
Okay.
assist us with that.
Good, good. So I'd like to get everybody's email address, so we have an email. And what I'll try to do in each of these elements is, because I know this is an educational process for you folks that we're going through, is talk about how it relates, how the data and the information and situations that we see ultimately relate back to the goals and objectives you've set, and what are the implications for implementation. Okay, so this is our goal, this is our objective, this is what we've got on the ground. How do we ultimately recommend a zoning approach or a program or something that can be undertaken now to start moving us or to accomplish that goal or move us in the direction of that goal and to or objective or strategy or policy that we're going to go through. Annual report. Have you done your annual report this year?
For census,
For the Maryland Department of Planning's annual report, have you done one
about
this year?
new homes, how many?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that I pick up on what has been developed since. The database I'm dealing with for a lot of the information is the Maryland Property View Department of Assessment Taxation's database, but it's dated 2018, so there's going to be a gap in there of what it shows on my GIS programs. So I'd like to fill that in if I can, at least to know that this isn't a vacant lot. This is somebody's built something here.
Most of it this year was Kinnaman's, but there was a few on Wood Duck too. So.
Yeah, there was a subdivision on Wood Duck, but
Yes.
there was like
6.
And how many of those have been built?
They're all done on Wood Duck.
Who built those?
Miguel?
He's a local builder?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up in the chapter 11 of a book that was just written about affordable housing, and I'll tell you right away that you're not going to solve the affordable housing problem. That's not something a municipality can do. You can do things to not get in the way through zoning and requirements for a developer, but the issue of affordable housing is a Wall Street issue, and it's not an issue you're going to be able to deal with. But one of the things that you can do for affordable housing, or at least get close to it, is to support local, small-scale builders who do infill, a house here, a house there. Somebody like Miguel, that kind of thing. And somewhere along the line, it might be advantageous for those kinds of people to come in and say, okay, what are the impediments that we're dealing with to try and do infill projects in Greensboro, and that are kind of holding us back, or the constraints, or they're adding significant cost that we can deal with. Typically you'll hear things like stormwater management, parking requirements, and those kinds of things. So when we get to the end of the process and we start talking about implementation, if we've got those kind of builders around, it might be good to have a session with them.
Okay.
What do they consider affordable housing? What price range?
It's 80% of the HUD median family income for Caroline County. That's the number. And when we get to the housing element, in the comp plan, I'll know what those numbers are for you.
Because Kinnaman's Meadows is selling houses under $300,000, and they sold like hotcakes over there. So, and I get it, it's not affordable housing, but compared to the market, what people are building, it's a lot cheaper. That's why they sold them that quick.
Well, when they talk about affordable housing, they actually have two levels. One is what they call workforce housing, and that number is a little higher. What they can afford to pay in rent and what they can afford to pay in a mortgage payment. So if you're selling over there at under 200, you might be hitting some of that. I don't know. And then there's the low income, and that's a much different number. And I think when you look at the socioeconomic profile, you'll see that there's a lot of candidates for that low income category in this community, and a lot of them are going to be single women with children. That's the number that really jumps out at you when you take a look in there. So, anyhow, questions?
Nothing from me, anything from you guys on anything? That's it anyway.
So, assuming I can get the stuff out to you ahead of time, we can have these workshops at your regular meeting if that works for you.
That's fine, whatever with Jamie, and whatever works, that's fine. If we need to do other nights, that's fine too.
Yep.
My schedule's a little difficult right now because I'm also teaching at the college, so I gotta kind of work around that too, so.
Right. And when you look at this material and you have a question, you can email me ahead of time, or something that I've given you tonight. If you have a question or a comment about it, you can email me, and I'll try and address that when we get together again, if that works for you.
That's fine, yeah. Look forward to getting this done. This needs to be done.
It's going to take a while. The public engagement part of it is going to be the challenge, but we'll figure something out and get the people engaged in your community, or at least make an attempt to get them engaged.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. I thank you, sir, very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anything from the town lobby on anything?
Well, just our meeting tomorrow night. That's about it, 6:30. So.
Okay. I have no other date, there's no other date for anything coming up other than.
I think we're having an autism awareness.
March 25th.
March 25th at the school.
At school.
So,
At Greensboro.
yeah, they're actually having a meeting in my house right now. That's why I'm here. But I think it's, when's our fishing derby? May? Have we just,
We haven't figured out exactly.
We're going to be meeting on that soon
okay, I figured
to
we
get
were.
that. We are. I've got it on the calendar to do
The
that.
boy prom, we got that today, so.
But other than that, that's really about it.
I hadn't seen nothing, and I was just curious, I didn't know, so. Anything else from anybody, any questions, any comments from any of you all? No. All right, if not, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned, thank you all.
Thank you.